So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use Git Diff code differences when using Netbeans. So in a previous tutorial, I did Git Diff, and I also did a Git Diff tool all on the command line. And I show you with the Git Diff tool, you're able to use your preferred GUI. For example, I used Meld, but you can use any third-party diff tool that you wish to use. Now, if you're using an IDE, for example, I'm going to be using Netbeans here, I'll show you that it already has, obviously it's a GUI, so it already has a visual diff built right into the Apache Netbeans. And that's what we're going to do today. All right, so before we begin, I just want to let you know that I do have a live stream every day. You simply go to jumbo.com, then you go to the watch menu, and under live sub menu, you can see where the example right now, it's a current live stream. The one we're doing right now is a Git Diff code differences with Netbeans, and it's on Odyssey. And you can see the approximate date and time here. And for example, the next one is going to be on, as you can see here, this channel, and that's what it's going to be about. So just also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. So basically, what we're going to do is I'm going to use an existing repository. So this is, for example, when people start programming, they'll probably try different text editors, maybe IDEs, to find which is their favorite or their preference. So for example, maybe if you guys start a new job, you might find that the people's job might force you to use, for example, maybe Netbeans or Eclipse, or maybe proprietary system. The problem is not with the proprietary, not. I'm just saying that the people might want you to use a specific one. That way, they can provide support for that one. That's what they know. Now, if they allow you to use your favorite one, that's fantastic. But what I'm saying is that, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how a project already exists. Maybe you've cloned a project and you want to do the visual diff using Netbeans. So if you don't know what Git is, it's a distributed version control system, or a source code for source code management. So what that means is that it's distributed, means that it's a DVCS that tracks versions of files. It's good for software collaboration, the teams working on projects. So don't think that because you're not going to be you're working by yourself, you don't need to use Git. There are some benefits because you can keep track of like histories, and you can go back based on the date and time, or on a commit. So I've gone through all this before, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I see here in the glossary, I explain what a branch is that enables developers to work on different versions of a project. For example, I gave this example before where this is how I usually work. Is when I start on a project, I usually, if they don't have Git, for example, what I would do is I'll take, let's say it's a website. It could be any project, but it could be an application. So what I do is, the website is easy to explain, is I'll take that, the live site, and I'll make that the master. So that'll be the master branch. Well, I guess you're not supposed to say master anymore. In 2025, you're supposed to say main or whatever. So that's the master branch. And then, for example, I'll have a testing branch. The testing branch, I keep it one-to-one with the test site. This way, if there's bug fixes, or I don't know what the problem is, I can fix it there, push it to test site, test everything's fine, then I push it to the live site. And then I could have an experimental site. For example, one website I worked on in the past, I still work on it, but about 3 times a year they would request a very massive change. So I can't push that stuff to the live site because it's going to take me a week, maybe up to a month to implement. So what I do is I would push those things to the experimental site when I'm happy with it, and I'll push it to the test site. Now, this has actually happened, is that there might be a bug fix. Sometimes it's very, very minor. It could be maybe a spelling mistake. So by using branches, I'm able to to go to that branch and fix that little thing, minor thing, and then after that I can switch back to the branch I'm working on, like I said, the experimental site, and then I can push things. That's how I prefer to work. I push from the experimental to the test site and then to the live site. Okay, so what is a stage? A stage is where you prepare a commit by adding files to a staging area. So for example, you're working on things, but maybe you're not happy with it, or so you don't have to commit those. You can just leave them until you're happy, then you can commit them and then put them in your own specific branch. So what's a commit? That captures the state changes as a snapshot to add the repository's history. So this doesn't mean the remote repository, just means your local repository. And what's a diff? We've gone through several times. That's a set of differences between two files or folders. And a patch is apply a set of differences to update files. So for example, maybe you're sick or you're away, vacation, doesn't matter. Someday could maybe provide an update. It could be a bug fix. So what you could do is you could have the set of differences is what you apply to your things to make them be one-to-one. So the repository is the branch, sorry, is up to date. An IDE, that's an integrated development environment, a software application used for software development. And I don't know why this here is multiple times. I should actually remove that. And the merge, we'll talk about this in a future one. So this is combines changes from different versions that applies or branches to a project into a single unified version. Okay. All right. So if you're working in a remote repository, I've always recommend this. You should always connect to it securely. So I recommend SSH. Yes, I know there's FTPS and then there's also HTTPS. However, those are very limited in that you can't run specific commands or set up things. For example, you've seen how I've set up on the command line Git is I make a specific folder. Those type of things you can't really do with the HTTPS and FTPS. You should if you can, SSH. Okay. So what I'm going to do, as I said before, I'm going to create a local repository. We don't need a remote one because we're going to just do the changes manually. So we can do everything up in NetBeans, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do everything on the command line, and then I'll open up NetBeans, just a project, just as I promised. I'm going to perform NetBeans Visual Diff on an existing project. So this way you don't have to create the project first. If you want me, let me know in the future. I can actually go and create a Git repository from scratch using NetBeans. Okay, so let's actually get started here. So we don't need this anymore. I might forget. So let you know that Git is open source. It's obviously it's licensed under the GNU General Public License version 2. That's a copyleft license. And NetBeans is licensed under the Apache license version 2. That's a permissive license. So if you all of them allow commercial use, modification, dispute, and making derivative proprietary, just consult the license for more specific details. Okay, so let's get started here. I'll minimize this, and I see I have NetBeans here where we left off last time, but that's not so important. I'll just, I can actually close this. This is actually not needed. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to show you, see it's an empty folder here. And just to save time, I've already opened up a terminal here, or console. So what I'm going to do is, you see it's completely empty. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a local project. So make there local project. Actually, I should put a comment here. So create new project folder, if applicable. So make there local project. See, it created a folder, and I could have simply just right-click here and new folder. I could have done the same thing there, but you might not have this if you're on a remote, if you're connected to a remote server. Okay, next thing is we need to enter the folder. The hash is for comments, so that's simply cd local project. So then I'll do the same thing here so you can see what I'm doing. So it's a local project here. Then first thing I'm going to do a git int initialize. Okay. Now you see So what I did here, it gives some hints here. Just ignore that for now, and it shows you how to create branches. We don't need to create branches for now. That's not this tutorial. So we have done that. Now we're going to add our first file. So you can use a text editor or anything like that, doesn't matter. Did you know that ojambo.com has a donate button? Text. Okay. So, oops, I made a mistake here. I have to do that again. Why didn't it create the folder? Huh, where am I? PWD? What is going on here? Local project. Okay, make the test. Huh, okay, I think I am, something is totally messed up here. I don't know what's going on. Let me, okay, now I should be able to make the test. Okay, there we go. It created a test folder. Okay. All right, so let me go back and okay, that's what happened. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file. Okay, so I'll say echo. Did you know that ojambo.com has a donate button? Okay, so it made that, and I can cut it just to show you that it's actually, yeah, so it says, do you know that ojambo.com has a donate button? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this file so it can be tracked. For example, if I put git status, yeah, it tells me that, so I add readme.txt. And if I go up to git status, you see it shows me that this file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit that file. So I'll say initial commit. Okay, now if I go back to git status, you see there's nothing because I've committed that file, so it's been tracked. Just a quick one, you see it says 644. That's the written permissions here. That means it's read write for the owner, and for the group it's only read, and for the entire road it's read. So if we go here, you see permissions, it said read write, but if we go here, you see the owner. I can read and write. The group that the owner is in, they can only, that's Edward group, they can only read only, and the others, they can only read it. So the people who are not people who are not Edward, or they will not be able to modify that file. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit this file. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll echo and that it is found in the header bar, period. Okay, so if I cut this file now, you see it says, did you know that ojambo.com has a donate button, and that it is found in the header bar, and there's a period. So this file has changed. Now if I go to git status, I just type git status, you see it tells me that the file has been modified because I added it, and because I committed it, now it's keeping tracking of all the changes I've done. Okay, now we're done here in the command line, so we don't need this anymore. I can actually close this. So go back to NetBeans. Now what I'm going to do is see our project here. I'll go back here, say local project. I'm just going to drag it into NetBeans. That's one thing I like about IDEs. You can usually drag and drop things. So you can see here, the hidden folder here, you see it already picked up that it's Git. You see it's already color coded. It's already color coded, and it's basically I'm using Apache NetBeans IDE 25. You see it's color coded. That tells me that this file is being tracked, and it's a new file, and you can see it's /m. That means it's been modified. So if I click on this file, let me zoom in here, dynamic zoom. So it can also tell me, you see this color coded thing here. This is what's different than the other than the original, because remember when I committed it, it was only the one line here. The second line was not being tracked. Okay, so now if I click on history here, see there's no history, because actually there is a history, because the only history is not the NetBeans one. NetBeans has two histories. One is the NetBeans itself, where it keeps track of things internally, and then there's the one when you see this where it says initial commit, you see the revision, it gives a number here. So this is the Git, and you see I can compare the Git. It says compare mode, it says diff to current. So you see down here I can also diff to previous. Right now I'm going to compare it to this one, which is to which we did today at this time. So if I click on this, let me zoom in here as well, and I'll zoom in on this side as well. So again, you see it's color coded, and it's telling me that the one in the commit, you see this number here, 57322F9, which is the same number here for the revision. So that is actually what was committed. But since that time, because I modified this file, remember I modified on the command line, but NetBeans picked it up immediately. It's telling me that in order for this two to be in sync, I can, if I press this X button here, it will be in sync, because it'll be just one line each. So that one will be in sync. Another way for them to be in sync is for me to push this from the right to the left. So, or I said I can just click the X here and then that would be deleted. That's another way for them to be in sync. So that's how I know that this is how I can keep track between the changes that have been tracked by Git. Now, as you can see, it says here, this is the graphical. That's what we want to see. And then also there's a textual. So let's click on the textual. So in textual, you might remember this. I'll zoom in here as well. Remember when we did the diff tool in the command line, the Git. So this is what it says. This patch file was generated by NetBeans. So this is a patch file generated by NetBeans. It uses a platform neutral UTF-8 encoding with /n new line. So this is the default for Unix type systems. That's Mac OS, BSD, Linux type systems. I believe, I don't use Windows, but I believe when last time I used it, they actually use UTF-16 by default. So as you can say, it's telling us, like for example, what the difference is. And you see this, it's using this HTML is just so that it can be color coded. So HTML, you see this is the bold tag. And HTML here. So this, you can open this up in HTML to, obviously it'll be color coded, it'll be pretty. Anyways, the point is that it's saying that the original file in this commit here, you see it's missing something. That's why it's minus, minus, minus. That means it's missing something. Obviously we know it's missing, and you see -1 here. It's missing the second line or second row. And then in the second file, it's plus, plus, plus. That means it has something the first file does not have. And we know it's the second line here, where it says, and that it's found in the header bar. And you see it's also color coded here. And this color coding is obviously right from this. So that's this textual way. But let's be honest, most people, I mean, if you wanna see it that way, like the way it's on the command line, or you might want to see it here. So let's actually stay here in the textual way. And you see there's a command, there's a terminal here as well. So we can also use the terminal. Here's, I'll show you a little trick. I think there we can open in terminal tools. Yeah, open in terminal. So if open in terminal, you see it went to the folder here. If I put Git Diff, you see this here? It's the same. It's I think I can't. I don't think I can zoom. Oh, I can zoom in here. Okay, that's even better. I can zoom in here as well. So you see when I did a Git Diff, it did a Git Diff. I just typed Git Diff here, and it did a/readme.txt and B. So that's how it compares, and it has a minus, minus, and plus, plus. It's the same, basically the same thing here as NetBeans does. And then it found that you see this is very similar. this is the full commit ID. This is the short version. The when you have what is it, seven numbers here. There's actually a longer version which is super long here, and then you see the difference here. Do you know that? And then you see that it's also color coded. That's because that's how not Netbeans. That's the color coded one that you have. So that's actually pretty nice. I like that. And obviously this is a visual way, or I said you can see the graphical way. To me, I would prefer the graphical way. It's just an easy way to see things. But I'm saying is sometimes if you have a lot of code, a lot of files, obviously doing it you might have to do it in the command line, so be fast. But if you have an IDE, you can also do it this way. So that's your Git Diff. That's your little Git Diff. And of course, if we go back to the file, you can just click source here, and then you can right click on the file, and you see Git here, and there's a Git Diff. You see, you can diff it to the head, diff it to the tract, repository head, or you can diff to if you have another file you want to compare it to. So you see, when I did that, a local revision, the master, and you see the commit ID here. That's the short version, and then you see it tells me the date I actually committed the initial one, and then I can diff it to that one, which is the same thing as we have. There's only one commit, so as you can see here. So that is that's just the tutorial. So I was saying that you can use an IDE. In this particular case, that's what a diff is. So like I said, you can do it on the command line, or you can do it using an IDE. Now you might be wondering, why don't I simply merge this together? Well, that will be a future tutorial. I'll explain to you what a merge is. And just for a quick way for this tutorial is, if you have a project, you can simply initialize so I'll create another project. I'll go back to the command line here. Actually, let me get rid of this, and I'll show you. I'm going to create another project. I'm going to cd out of this one first. Okay, so cd. So I'll call it I'll call this one my project. Okay, so you see that's my project, and it has nothing, right? You see it has nothing here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Netbeans. Come on, open up Netbeans, and I'm going to drag my project. Remember, my project doesn't have anything at all. So if I just drag my project, you see my project is here. I can actually close this, and what I can do here is I right click, and I think I click new. Oh, I think I need to have a file inside. I think oh no, is it Teams? Oh yeah, Teams. So git initialize repository. So you can do that, and it's going to initialize one inside there, and you see it created the .git file inside there. Then what I can do is I'm going to create just a text file. Yeah, empty file is fine. I'll call this one. No, I'll do the same thing as before. So I'll call it readme.txt. Okay, then I'll zoom in here. Did you know that jumbo.com has a donate button? Okay, get rid of the second line. Okay, so I save this, and then if I right click on this file, I see Git is here now. I can commit, and you see it says Git added, commit, etc. So I'll just say initial commit. So I've committed it. You see, it's no longer color coded. Now, if you remember the second line I said, and I left a space, and I said, and that it is found in the header bar, period. Okay, hit save. Now you see it's also color coded because this has been modified. See the M there? That means it has been modified. So if I right click on this, you can also right click on the tab here, and you can go to Git, and I'll do a Git Diff. You can do a Git Diff there. You can click show changes. Another option is I just click on history here, and you see this is I can compare to that revision, and you see it's similar to what we had before. Now, I usually use the command line for this. Is there a git status? There's I'm not sure how you see changes here. Obviously, you can visually see changes. I don't think there's a git status. Display as tree. Oh, here we go. Refresh statuses. Let's see. Oh, modified. So it's saying me that this file has been modified. Okay, so I guess I can double click here and it'll open this up here as a Git diff right there. So that's one way to do it. So you just simply just, what did I click on here? You can refresh and just double click down here. You see it's modified, and that's it. So that's how you can find differences, and it's exactly the same. For example, if I go to the, I can close Netbeans here. That's no longer needed. So if I go here, I go cd my project, and I type git status. You see, it tells me it has been modified. So you can use an IDE, in this case, a Netbeans IDE. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. I can close this as well. Get this out of here. And I also let you know that every day I'm hosting a live stream. Visit ojambo.com for details. You just go to watch menu, live, sub menu, and then you can see, for example, this is the current one we're doing right now, and you see approximate date and time, and the upcoming one, and it's the channel it's going to be on, and the approximate date and time. Also, right, if you open any of those up before or during the live stream, there's a little code snippet here. Not a code snippet, it's a little snippet where I actually put the actual date and time, and I said you can ask questions. And if you click on this, for example, there's a link here, so you can go and participate, log in and participate. If not, you can simply just scroll the way down and you see the video part, and you can hit play. And there you go. You can actually watch it live while I'm actually making it. All right. So also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. If you enjoyed this, consider supporting me. Purchase one of my WordPress plugins at ojambo.com, enroll my programming courses at ojamboshop.com. Buy my programming books on Amazon, search for ojambo, links in the description. You can hire me for your programming and app development needs at ojamboservices.com, or you become a donor at ojambo.com/donate. There's a donate button right out here in the header as well. And this article, it's also included in the description. It's ojambo.com/git-diff-code-differences-with-netbeans. Okay, so that's it, and I'll see you in the next one.